Hi everyone, it is Adwoa here, and welcome back to the 2026 intake series, episode 7. In this episode, we are going to talk about accommodation. All right, a lot of people end up not booking their accommodations very fast, and at the end of the day, when you're only remaining with about a week, they'll be like, "Oh, Adwoa, I don't have a place to stay. What am I going to do?" You need to avoid that. That is why this episode is on. We're going to discuss how to find a place, how to avoid being scammed, and then how to settle in very well before you start any endeavor or activity in UK. I'm also going to let you know the things that you need to know even before you come to the UK, and then as soon as you get to the UK, the things that you need to do. All right, so let's just dive in. By the way, if you are new here, I just want to chip in something very, very important. I run a company called Kyewa Global, and as part of the services that we do offer, we do assist students and other traveling in terms of accommodation. If you're looking for a research, if you're looking for an information that you're not finding, really, we can literally assist you. And if you're looking for, maybe if you're a student, you want to come to the UK, maybe your SOPs, your CVs haven't been done correctly, feel free and then reach out to Kyewa Global and we'll run things out for you like perfectly. So I'm literally teaching you everything that is applicable to the real life situations. You can still feel free to look at all the episodes we have shared, because that is exactly what I'm going to be discussing with you and more. Okay, so at any point in your application process or at any point in your accommodation application processes where you find it difficult and you feel like you need more help, feel free to reach out to Kyewa Global and we will get you sorted. Don't play with it, don't be dishonest. Still not understanding. Now let's get into today's lesson. So for today's lesson, we are talking about accommodation. We're going to categorize them into 3 different types. We have the university accommodations, we have the private hall for students, and we also have the private shared accommodations, okay, and many more under that category. Now, moving on to the first one, which is the university halls. These are definitely the accommodations that the universities offer for the students. You should bear in mind that these accommodations fill up very fast. They are closer to the school, they are within the school sometimes, most of the times, yes, and then they are easily accessible. Now, right after there, if you are not getting an accommodation in the university, the next immediate one is definitely the private halls. That is also a little bit closer to the university. Okay, so these halls are managed by different organizations. It doesn't have to be necessarily for the university, and then because they are almost close to the university, it gives them a competitive advantage. All right, so if you have maybe let's say if you're going to Aston University, you might end up not being in the accommodations of Aston University, but you might end up being in accommodations around it, like Onyx. Is it Onyx? Is it Onyx? Yeah, so definitely you might end up booking an accommodation which is closer to the university, but not inside the university. All right. Now, another thing that you should know is that there are good options, especially when the university accommodations are extremely full. Okay. The third thing, or the third category, is the private houses. All right, so these private shared accommodations are literally like you are coming from your house to the school. It has zero correlation with anything of university accommodations. They are just there to make you feel comfortable. Sometimes they are very less expensive than that of the university's accommodations, but they are quite far from the universities, and you will have to sometimes get on the bus before you get to school, which is quite okay, you know. So it depends on what you're looking for. It depends on how best and how fast you are getting these information and how fast you are working on to get an accommodation. I hope that is clear. Okay, so these are the differences, all right? But one thing that you need to know about the private shared accommodations are sometimes they are a bit risky. Depending on where you're getting the accommodation from, you need to make sure that you are not being scammed, okay? So we'll be talking about some red flags that you need to look out for, and then we'll be talking about some of the things that you need to know and you need to do even before you pay that amount of money to the person you need to pay it. That brings us to the next point. That is the things that you need to do even before you pay the amount. One of the things that you need to know is the fact that the landlord is verified. We have a lot of landlords that are not verified, but we have some applications that you can search your accommodation searches from. So some of these accommodations are Zoopla, Rightmove, Open Rent, Spare Room. All right. When it comes to the private hall accommodations, you're also looking at Uni-Alco, Amber, and a whole lot of that. And another thing that you need to know is that before you make that payment, you need to find out whether they have a tenancy agreement. It is very, very important for you to know what you are getting yourself into, especially when you know you're going to be staying there for a long time. You do not want a situation whereby they do not have anything like a tenancy agreement, because at the end of the day, if something happens, it might be on you. Even if it's not supposed to be on you, because you do not know, it would be your responsibility to do it. And if you are outside the country and you are looking forward to come and do that renting, okay, you need to be able to do like a virtual tour. You need to let the agencies bring you to the accommodation site or show you videos and pictures. Then you need to see what you are actually getting, okay? In that case, you are very clear about what you are getting yourself into, because it is absolutely okay to have like a virtual tour instead of like a physical viewing. All right, you need to make sure that that has been sorted for you. And there is something that we call deposit. When it comes to this UK, we call something deposit. The deposit is like an amount you pay to the landlord even before you move in, okay? So these amounts, they are just being withheld, all right, until you leave the place. As you came for it, they will give you your money back and then you move. But if there are some issues with the housing and stuff, they might deduct something from it, or they might take everything and they might not give it to you. So that's for the deposits perspective. Now, let me tell you the exact time that you need to book for your accommodations, okay? The moment you have gotten your admissions and then you have your unconditional offer, you should start looking for your accommodation, all right? Because that is the earliest way and that is the safest way you can start to do all the research and then find yourself a good accommodation. Because you are already looking for the accommodations, like the price are going to be a bit lesser. You're gonna get the opportunity to compare prices. You're gonna get the opportunity to compare the housings. You'll be able to make the right choice for yourself. But if you wait until maybe, let's say, 2 weeks until your start date, that means you're going to be rushing things and you don't want that to happen to you at all. Now, let me give you some priority lists that you need to look out for when you're looking for an accommodation. The first thing that you need to look out for is accessibility, okay? Your transport systems, like how close you are to your school. Do you need to take like a bus? Do you need to take a train? Do you need to take Uber? Do you need to walk? All of these things, you need to check them out even before you book that accommodation that you're looking for. So if you're looking for an accommodation, you're trying to look for an accommodation that is closer to your university, closer to your workplace, closer to wherever you want to go. So the earlier you book, the easier your transactions become. You also have to check the safety of the area. Do your research very well. You need to make sure that where you're going is very, very safe for you to, go and come back at any random point in time, because bear in mind, sometimes you would go out and you want to come back around 1 a.m. Is it safe? You want to go out and come back around like 3 a.m. It happens sometimes. So you have to just make sure that you are doing your research very, very well, and then you make sure that where you're going to stay is going to be a place where it's going to save you from any danger. Also look for reviews online. Okay, I know some of the reviews are sometimes trash, but then sometimes they're very honest. Okay, look for reviews from Trustpilot, look for reviews from Google. You're definitely going to find some things that might save you. You also want to check some things like whether the bills are included, whether the bills are not included. So some of the amounts, they let you know whether you have to pay some extra bills, whether you are not supposed to pay any extra bills. You also have to know all of those things. Add that one to your priority checklist, and that is going to save you a lot of stress. The last thing that I want you to know as part of a priority checklist is cancellation policies. Okay, sometimes if you are supposed to cancel like your accommodation bookings after you have lived there for a long time, if it's not well stated, you might struggle. Okay, but then the moment you know the dates and the times you're supposed to cancel, even before your next payment is due and all of that, it saves you money. Because sometimes in this UK you might end up paying two bills. It's not really like they are cheating, but then because they work with systems, and if you don't inform them early, they will not be able to take you out of the next billing process, and then you might be automatically be asked to pay something, of which if you had told them earlier, they could have actually taken your name out of it. But because you didn't tell them earlier, and then even though you are moving to another accommodation, you would end up paying twice. So you don't want that to happen to you. So you make sure that you are checking the cancellation policies and make sure that everything is actually fine with you. There are some accommodations that you would have to leave there after living there in 6 months. You need to also make sure that you are aware of all of those things even before you book those accommodation. Now, the most important part is, okay, please let me mention this again. Don't pay money to anybody through WhatsApp. Okay, make sure you're using the apps which are verified, like the spare rooms, the open rent, the right move, and even if you're using some student accommodations, please make sure you're using like the Amber, you're using Uniaco, and all of those similar ones. You don't want to find yourself wanting, because a lot of people might be even out of the country using some numbers and be doing a lot of things that you don't even want to know of. So please make sure that you are keeping yourself safe from this whole situation. Okay, if the price looks so good to be true, please, it is a scam. If you know that this place is actually supposed to be going for like 500 to 600, 700 pounds, and they're telling you it's 200, it's too good to be true. Please, it is a scam. Run away. Run away. Yeah, so that is it for episode 7. And so remember, accommodation can really stress you, and it can also make your stay very, very peaceful. So choose wisely, then make sure that you are choosing on time, okay? And at any point in time, if you are stuck in your process, please feel free to reach out to Kyewa Global, and we will definitely be there to support you throughout your entire process, just to make your stay a very calm one. Okay, we'll help you settle in very, very well. Thank you for watching up till this time. My name is Joshua, and I will see you in episode 8, where we're going to talk about the actual cost that you need to travel to the UK. And that is it for now. Au revoir.